He swore as a president to be fair, equitable, and justful. That is what the president swore to be. But that is not what is being reflected. From tomorrow, those so-called Tinubu boys or people will start attacking Ndume. Oh, he's a frustrated person. Cite the acts of Mr. President and point out some of these irregularities. Absolutely. That is what we swore to do. After this interview, those attack dogs or MAGA dogs will start attacking Ndume, not the message.
Okay, let's start with what you've described as a very big infraction on the federal character constitutional provisions of this country. You say that more than 70% of the president's appointees are from his southwest region and that he's effectively skewed his appointments in violation of the principle of federal character. Tell us more.
Well, you have said it all. I don't think I have anything more to add than to say the figures are there. Somebody, the figures are there. You can look at the figures. I sent you one. I sent you figures. It's not that I'm just making accusations. And it's not that I'm saying, well, the president has no right to do that kind of thing. But there's a constitutional provision. Section 14.3 of the Constitution is very, very clear. When you look at it vis-a-vis the appointments made so far, and they are political appointments, if appointments that are professional, so to say, like you can't appoint somebody who is not a soldier to become the chief of army staff, or you can't appoint somebody that is not a police to be the IG of police, and you can't appoint such persons once they don't get to, they are not qualified. But then, when you come to look at political appointments, the Constitution is very clear, and it's because to avoid such infractions that the Constitution Section 14.3 clearly states that appointments, especially political appointments, should reflect the federal character, and that is not the case here. And all I'm saying is to call the attention of Mr. President to such infractions so that it can be corrected. Otherwise, these things can boomerang at a certain period of time. It's not. And I know, as you rightly said, people look at me as somebody that is critical of the government. I have the right to do that in the first place. And in fact, that's why I'm in the National Assembly in the first place. Collectively, we are supposed to oversight the acts of Mr. President and point out some of these irregularities. Absolutely. That is what we swore to do. It's not personal. I think I have better personal relationship with most of these people that are talking about Tinubu. And I can say in the North, if you count, not up to 5 people that have close relationship with Mr. President, Ndume is one of them. But that does not stop me from speaking the truth, and I have obligation to do that, especially when all of us know that at the end of it all, each one of us will stand before God, and God will ask him to account for what he is responsible for. You understand? And that's why I'm saying this. And besides, we are all in this government. What will we tell our people? When you have these figures out, it's already viral, it's already in circulation. But you know what? From now, after this interview, those attack dogs or MAGA dogs will start attacking Ndume, not the message. And that's why we always get it right. It is not about Ndume or me being a senator. As a Nigerian, I have the right to voice out all these things. Not only that, I have the right to even protest. I have the right. That is guaranteed by the Constitution. But from tomorrow, those so-called Tinubu boys or people will start attacking Ndume. Oh, he's a frustrated person.
But I mean, the facts are there, though, aren't they?
Yeah, the facts are there. These are the facts. I brought it here so that you can see it. I sent it to you. These are facts. And I'm not the one that created it. These are facts extracted from what is going on there.
But is it the generality of his appointments, or is it the more sort of juicier jobs?
No. It's not about juicier jobs. It's about spread. It's about equity. It's about justice. You understand? And look, the coming of Mr. President is based on justice, equity, and fairness. And it is expected that he will continue in that direction to ensure fairness.
You mean because he came from the South?
Yeah. That is one. But he swore as a president to be fair, equitable, and justful. That is what the president swore to be. But that is not what is being reflected in the events, whether he knows it or he doesn't know. That's why I called on his attention to look at these things so that he can do something about it. That is the issue. And now I'm also begging or calling those attack dogs out there to please address the issues.
Rather than Senator Ndume.
Rather than Senator Ndume,
Right.
address the message. Because I know now those attack dogs who cannot, I repeat, defend the president when the chips are down. Why I'm saying chips are down, most of them, go and check them. I did my research too. I will come up with the figures. Almost 60 or 70% of them are half Nigerians. You know why? I accuse you of one time of being half.
Don't even go there. you know what I mean? Do not go there.
Okay, please. I will not go there because of
please.
you. But it's true, most of the appointees, you check around, I will come up with the figures. Most of them are people that have double citizenship.
I mean dual citizens.
Dual citizens.
Right. Well, it's not illegal to be a dual citizen.
I'm not saying it's illegal,
Right.
but all I'm saying is those type of people cannot give the country 100% because they are not 100% Nigerians.
Well,
anyway.
I disagree with you.
Okay.
On that score. I mean, any other thing.
Because you are one of them anyway.
I told you not to go there. Now you've gone there.
Okay.
But the point is that, no. I mean, I think the real issue here is whether there is an infraction
There is
on the federal character constitutional provisions of this country. And you have provided evidence that seems to support that fact. But let me ask you something else, because you are a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You're a lawmaker. And part of what is involved in being a lawmaker is making just and equitable laws. It's not just a law, because I mean, if you look at it from a different perspective, people have a right to oppose a law that is not just, if it is shown not to be just. I mean, should it really matter where someone comes from as long as they are capable and competent in the job that they are chosen to do?
No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, I stood in support of that. I support the president getting, even if it is an expatriate, to occupy a certain position as long as it doesn't infract
on the Constitution.
On the Constitution.
Right.
But what he's doing now infracts on the Constitution. And worst of it, so far, not all, but so far, majority of those that are given those responsibilities are not discharging their so-called...
So you question their competence as well?
Yes, I did before.
You're right.
So I still stand on it.
Right.
Because we haven't gotten to where, or there is no kind of ray of hope in the country under the leadership of those.
So let me be clear.
Now let me give you.
Yeah, okay.
For how many years? All we hear is endure. It will be okay. It will be okay, and it's 2 years. And now, the main purpose of government is clearly stated in Section 14. Security, welfare of its citizens, and of course, other things that follow in Section 14 of our Constitution. We are far from most of them, especially the issue of security and welfare of citizens. There's no amount of this hullabaloo that they are doing out there that if the president doesn't do something to make Nigerians feel and see, not to just hear and these figures turning out. No. There's this Hausa saying that if you tell a dog that there's party in their house at home, he would ask you to let me see it. And that means let him see that the party is going on by maybe getting bones or the meat or something. But when you say things are all right, and Nigerians are still out there yearning that things are tough, and you know things are tough. You yourself know that.
Well, let's turn to that issue that you've now raised, which is the very, the issue of insecurity in the country. I mean, you mentioned, I was going to go to the issue of borrowing, but we're going to come to that in a minute, because you brought up the issue of security. You've been raising the alarm, not only over the killings in Uromi, in Edo State, now you've got the massacre in Plateau State, but you've also expressed grave concern over the escalating militant attacks in your home state of Borno, and what appears to be the resurgence of Boko Haram and ISWAP there. I mean, just briefly tell us about your concerns.
Well, just day before yesterday, a captain was killed and a corporal in my local government in a town or village called Isge that have been resilient. They have a plateau there, and they have a battalion nearby. The Boko Haram came, killed the captain, tried to, but for the resilience of the people and the soldiers there, we lost 2. In Goshe, a local government, it's another village, in the last 5 days or so, also the Boko Haram attacked them from Amuda and killed 3 soldiers. In Wajirko recently, that is, there's what they call FOB, Front Operation Base, was attacked and we lost 4 soldiers. That time too, Urgo, which is not in my local government but is in Borno State, was also attacked. Severally in other areas. Even yesterday or so in Kebbi, there's a case of Lakura killing about 12 people or so. I read it somewhere. There's this killing in Plateau again. All this part of insecurity. There was a killing in, that of IPOP, isolated, killings in the southeast is still going on. And I mean, you can see that Nigeria's security challenge is still there. In fact, when it goes down a little bit, it goes up again. And as I said, the main purpose of government is security, whatever you do in this country.
It must be very worrying, for you from Borno State, that I mean, every time we're told that, Boko Haram and ISWAP have essentially been contained, if not neutralized. But what we're seeing are these bursts of sporadic energy from them that seems to suggest that they're nowhere near being defeated.
No, not especially in Borno or Bay State. What we call the Bay State is Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe. As it is now, today, you can't go anywhere in Borno. You can't travel anywhere in Borno after 5 o'clock till morning, 8 in the morning. And it has been like that. But the only difference is that before, now, even after that 8 o'clock in the morning, you cannot travel freely without escort. But these days, there is an improvement that you can go somewhere, some routes without escort. But as I'm telling you now, some of the routes, especially from Maiduguri to Damboa, that you can you can reach there in 2 hours. You have now to at least travel 8 hours. In fact, that road that we used to take under escort, that is from Maiduguri to Damboa, then to Biu, is completely closed now because we have been losing lives there. And coupled with the fact that even the citizens are complacent, and then the security challenge is so much. We have been losing soldiers, we have been losing people.
So why do you think things have got worse there?
It's not that things have gotten worse, but are still lingering. You can't say, right. Yeah, it's not that it has gotten worse.
So there's a bit of a stalemate.
Yes, that is it. Right. I think that's the correct word to use. There's a kind of stalemate. The Nigerian army are doing their best under the circumstances that they are operating. As I'm telling you now, I don't know about last week. I don't know about last month. Our soldiers that sacrificed their life, some of them are yet to be even paid the 70,000 minimum wage. And their daily ration up to now, I don't know about last week because I am interested. I'm a Nigerian, I'm a senator. It's 1,500. You can imagine what 1,500 can do to somebody that you just post from Port Harcourt sometimes. I met a young man from Bayelsa, posted to Bama, and he's been paid 50,000 then when I met him. 50,000 naira.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, I mean, you used to be the chairman of the Committee on the Army, weren't you, at one stage? I mean, I'm wondering what you were doing.
I was on their neck.
You have oversight.
I was on their neck.
The Senate has oversight.
And, I'm not trying to exonerate myself because we didn't get there anyway. But Buhari is alive. He knows how the pressure I did personally put on him, especially for him to approve the loan that we collected to procure the Tucano that helped.
Yeah, the Tucano jets.
Yeah, that changed it. But right now, the truth of the matter is that our Nigerian or armed forces generally are not well trained, are not equipped, are not motivated, and are not armed. If you don't do that, you don't get anywhere. I suggested at one time that if we can't do that in the shortest possible time, then one of the short-term solutions that the Chief of Defense staff came here to disagree with me, which is entitled to, is to engage the service of private military contractors, PMC. It's done all over. America, that is the greatest country in the world, they engage Blackwater, which is their non-contractors. The British Army do that. French do that. So with this problem that can be solved, and it's in 3 or 4 or 5 black spots, you can address it by, engaging private military contractors and ask them to fix it. They will fix it. And the Nigerian Army can engage itself in other things. But no, Christopher is my friend. We worked closely when I was chairman.
That's
Army.
Christopher Musa, the Chief of Defense Staff.
Yeah, very good guy.
Yeah, he's a very intelligent man.
Yeah, but they are they have, I think I look at it as kind of pride or something. What's wrong with engaging private contractors to solve the problem?
Well, you're in the Senate, and it is people like you and your colleagues who have to assess the situation. I mean, that's why you guys are elected to go there and then put pressure on the government, or even change the law in order to make that mandatory, mandate the government to do that. But you mentioned loans. Yeah. About the Tucanos, which is that brings me to the other issue that you have raised, which is the very high borrowing by the Tinubu government that's taken place over the last 20 months or so. And to be fair to you, it's not just you. Several leading economists, chambers of commerce, etc., have also expressed concern over the rising debt. How serious a situation does this look like from your point of view as a senator? How much of a national crisis is it?
Well, let me first of all say that I'm not against borrowing. Even the greatest countries in the world, America, Japan, China, all are big borrowers. But they borrow for physical, tangible, and accountable projects that you spread and pay over time. But my worry is not even in the borrowing, it's what you borrow for.